Hi, Courtney. It's Stephanie and Adrian from the How to Be a Redhead podcast. Welcome.
Hi, Stephanie and Adrian. I'm so excited to finally connect.
Hi, so nice to have you
I
on. I know
know, I
finally we get to
know. It's
chat.
a long time coming.
Yes.
So we want to go right into it. A question we like to ask our guests who are redheads. What was it like for you growing up with red hair?
Um, I've been listening to your guys' podcast for a while, so it's like I find a lot of people have similarities where I was the only redhead in my family growing up. My mom has
Mm-hmm.
blonde hair. My brother, dad, they have really dark hair, dark features. So I came out and I was like, I look like absolutely no one. And my grandpa actually had red hair and freckles, but he passed away like when I was 9 months old. But then my mom was like, "You're an angel because you look like him. You have freckles. You have red hair." So
Oh,
she thought like she had a really close relationship with him that
That's
like
so
I
sweet.
was her angel. So yeah.
wow.
Oh, that is so nice. That's so nice. So, did you experience any bullying or like what was your experience like? Did you get teased or what was it like? Because I know
Yeah.
you grew up in
Yeah.
Canada, correct?
It's actually horrible
Yeah.
here too. I hated my
Oh.
red hair and freckles until I
Mm.
was in my 20s even. I wanted to laser all my freckles off. I dyed my hair
Same.
black. People would kick me on Kick a Ginger Day. I was called a day walker, you name it. Like it was horrible. And like people would like just bully me
Wow.
so bad just because of I had like dots on my skin. So, and red
Oh
hair.
my God.
And now people are trying
Mm.
to
And
add freckles. Isn't
Yes,
that
people
feel
crazy?
I see it all the time, like trying to put henna or like the different tricks to like get freckles now. So
Yeah.
I've obviously now learned to embrace having my red hair and freckles, which I love. But yeah, it was so weird growing up and like seeing similarities with other redheads because there's not a
Hmm.
lot of us. So yeah, but
No. Wow, wow. I know. And when we think of you, Courtney, we think freckles. Like we think
Mm-hmm.
like beautiful freckles. So we wanted to touch upon your freckles. And I know that you just said that you were made fun of for them growing up. And I know you must have had a hard time accepting them, but we were wondering, when did you start really accepting your freckles, your red hair, and who you were? Like when did that transition happen
well,
for you?
I was born in 96, but I grew up obviously with like Paris Hilton, Britney Spears. I wanted to be like blonde and skinny and like
Mm,
be on TV,
mm-hmm,
be like Hannah Montana or all these people that didn't look like me. And Instagram wasn't around then. So there wasn't like
Mm-hmm.
anybody to really look up to as a redhead. That's why I'm so grateful that there's platforms now that connect us all together to like embrace who we are. So
it's
it's
so
really important.
important.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say even when I was like maybe 16, 17, because I found within dance, because I was a really competitive dancer at the time, when I'd go to auditions, I really wanted to stand out. But in my head, I was like, what can I do to stand out? My red hair and freckles. That makes me completely different than anyone
Yes.
else in the room. So I like learned to embrace it through auditions and like older mentors telling me like you need to love your red hair and freckles and not dye it anymore and like just embrace being exactly who you are because that will get you places rather than trying to be someone that I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like red hair is really a secret weapon, you know, like you learn so much about yourself growing up with it. And then once you are coming into your own and having experience like you just shared with dance, you're like, oh, wow, I'm actually really lucky to have red hair. And there's so many quotes out there that I'm sure you've read, but like red hair is the crown you never take off, or,
Mm-hmm.
you know, just even so many quotes about freckles, and I think that they all stand true, that we are so special, and it really makes us stand out from the rest. And I feel like I've had so much opportunity because I'm just, oh, that girl with red hair, let's just, you know, Stephanie and I both, like, we just feel like we have always had the upper hand as adults in situations because we stand out.
Mm-hmm.
Adults. I love that you said adults too, because like
Yeah.
when you're younger, kids are mean. Like
Kids are so mean.
it's weird going from a transition of being like through puberty and like going through that and like you wishing you were someone else or you looked different And then now people fetishize or like are obsessed with red hair. But as you're young too, with on your other episodes on your podcasts, I've heard other redheads too saying like people wanted to touch their hair or like be like, oh, how did you get this hair color? And I'm like, it is what it is, baby. Like this.
Yeah.
I love that. And as I'm looking at your red hair too, Stephanie, I know we both want to ask, have you ever wanted it to be more vibrant? Do you do anything to your red hair? Like what is your routine with it?
So I personally, because I'm a hairstylist as well, and I go for glosses. I don't like dyeing, like if your hair is naturally red, I don't suggest like depositing pigment into your hair, because I've done that and I like dyed my hair really vibrant red and it looked green. Like the contrast between like the red and like the fake red, it makes the red hair look green. So it's just weird. So I find a lot of redheads right now are going into toners or glosses, they say, and that's like a demi-permanent sealant that like makes your hair shiny. I gloss my hair. It lasts about 2 months and it's just like a refresher, kind of like your guys' shampoo that you have. It just like sits on top of the cuticle, but it's not actually penetrating it so that it changes your hair color. But it like makes
I know
vibrant.
your hair looks so glossy.
I just put
so
my
shiny
extensions in yesterday.
Are
they look really great.
Are they clip-ins?
Extensions. I have probably 100 grams of 20 inches. But I'm like, they're like sewn in right here.
Oh, they're sewn
okay, so you get them sewn in.
Yeah,
and what is that process like? Does it take a long time?
So basically, I don't like any glue
pretty.
or tape-ins for hair just because I find it damages people's hair, low key. But we use silicone beads and we put the silicone beads around the head and then we sew the weft onto the silicone beads so it's not damaged. It's just like continuing to grow it with your natural hair. And then you can like take it out, you can put it back in. You can put clip-ons to it and clip it into your head.
Wow.
And how long does it last?
Your hair can, like, I have some hair from like 2019. Like I like switch it up. Sometimes I want it like short, so I'll put like, because my hair's long but it's fine at the bottom, so I like to smooth it out when I do photo shoots or Instagram photos or Zoom calls. I like when it's like thick and full.
You like that? Yeah, it looks amazing.
Thank you.
It really, really does. And what do you do? I am curious for a redhead who's starting to dull or brown out and they can't, the glosses are really great to up, the shyness, but it doesn't like, for those that are experiencing dullness. I too experienced dullness and brassiness, depending on the time of year. And I've had people in the past be like, wait, you're not a redhead or your hair looks brown. So then I have to like up it with certain products. So what do you recommend if someone sits in your chair with the same dilemma?
That's the worst, when someone's like, your hair looks blonde. You're like, or it looks brown. But I would suggest
that's the worst.
If anybody is going brown, it depends what route you really want to take. I give out options to my clients. So you could do like a bleach cocktail, which like you can shampoo with a little bit of bleach and it lifts your hair a little bit, and then you can add the gloss into it.
Oh, okay.
But
I've never heard of that.
Yeah, so a lot of people don't want to add bleach into their hair because bleach is damaging, but it is an option if you're like finding your hair's dulling out. You can like lift it a little bit, but color does not lift color, so you're not going to be getting that lift or brightness you want from just depositing color.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I follow. Yeah, that makes sense. Do you have a lot of redheaded clients?
Yes.
Or do you love when a redhead sits in your chair?
Yeah, I find like being a redhead, I attract more redheads, and it's nice to like get people that want to have red hair, because it's like solving a puzzle, because red is made out of orange, red, and gold pigments. So finding what's right for each redhead.
Yeah, we're unique.
That's so cool. We are. We are. So we know you are a model. We know that you are a professional makeup artist and
Amazing.
hairstylist.
Wow.
So you do a lot.
Yes.
And we want to get more into other details about beauty. But before we do, we thought it was important to talk about when you were 3 years old, you survived a natural disaster that left you with a pelvic
Mm.
floor dysfunction.
Yeah.
Talk to us about your journey. I wanted to start from the beginning because I'm sure this is part of your journey to accepting your body as it is. Because when I do think about you and I think about your beautiful freckles, Stephanie and I were both saying to Pam before we got on, like, we think of body positivity with you and we think like you have so much confidence. So we just want to hear more about your story and how it all got started, all the way back from when you were 3 years old.
Yeah. So my family and I were thrown 60 feet in the deadly Pine Lake tornado. It was a F4 tornado that happened. We were camping out there actually, and yeah, it just like the tornado
Came out of
Wait,
nowhere.
a tornado just came out of nowhere.
So this, because there was only pagers back then. It was in the year 2000.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
and in Calgary, there's like something called Stampede. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it, but it's like a rodeo.
No.
So it was really, really
No.
hot that day. And my dad, he paged some guy because there's no really tornado warning on your cell phone. So
Yeah,
he
right.
was, he was picking up a brand new truck, a brand new trailer. We were driving out. We picked my brother up from a birthday party, and the clouds were kind of like lime green. So, and it started hailing like hail, like huge.
Mm.
And
Oh.
from what I remember, we got there and everyone, I was so young, but everyone was kind of like freaking out. And all of a sudden, like my dad has this brand new truck, brand new trailer. My parents like are freaking out putting us in the trailer. And yeah, like you start seeing trees getting hucked out of the floor, and like it's like disastrous. And then all of a sudden, I
Mm.
thought it was the new trailer
Oh.
because I was so young, but I was like screaming. My brother was like crying. I've never seen him so distraught.
Oh
My
my
mom's like holding on
gosh.
to us, didn't know where my dad was in the trailer, and he actually, before we went up in the air, opened up the trailer door so that the friction of us going up high didn't pop like the trailer open.
Mm.
But everyone that was on our lot, kind of like near us, 12 people passed away, but somehow we survived. And like my mom
Wow.
swears, like she's like, there, my dad or my mom was with us, like she's like, I don't know how. And like her arm just landed underneath my brother's head where it was like 60 feet, and then we dropped because our trailers collided with another trailer. So it was terrifying, and she had to
Wow.
like let go of my hand. I fell underneath the bed, and they couldn't find me afterwards, but then they found me in like this perfect slot that I was just like huddled into. But a 2-year-old 2 or 3-year-old boy passed away that was like right next to us. Like it was horrible.
Oh.
So being thrown in a
Mm.
disaster like that, I like clenched so hard for to survive, I think. And as I've gotten older, that's how I discovered I had pelvic floor dysfunction, is because when I would
Oh.
dance or do anything, my bladder and everything, it would feel like I have a permanent UTI, which I would go to the bathroom
Oh
every time. It would feel like I
My
had to
God.
pee and I couldn't. And then two, I'd be like, why am I so bloated? I don't look like these other girls. My stomach, like everything hurts. And they found out when I was like 24. So not even that long ago, they kept giving me the
Oh
wrong
my.
prescription here, being like, oh, it's just a UTI, and like dismissing me. Like, I think a lot of people get the Canadian healthcare system wrong. Like, you have to really advocate for yourself because we have free healthcare with our tax and everything. But
Mm-hmm.
I had to advocate for myself. Like, I walked through like hell
Oh.
basically to like get
Yeah.
answers. And
Oh
finally,
my
2 years
gosh.
ago, they started inserting Botox into my pelvic region because they said it's like victims who have been in car crashes or any tragic event, you're like clenching for your life. So I kind of messed up all my pelvic floor muscles down there. So
Mm.
now I just have, there's not really a cure for it, but I do pelvic floor physio, and I go for my Botox. So I have to be put under every 6 months in order to like
Wow.
live a normal life and not feel like I have to pee all the time.
Oh
Wow,
my
that's
gosh.
insane. So when you were going from doctor to doctor, were you explaining that you had this situation happen with the tornado?
Yes, so people like kind of laugh at first because it's like LOL, I was in a tornado, but it's like
Mm.
it's actually like so like I as I've gotten older, it's become more traumatizing or more anxiety ridden based for me
Yeah.
Yeah.
because
I
Yeah.
can
it's
understand.
like a
Yeah.
nightmare that you never wake up from. Like I always am like, oh my god, are my parents gonna die or like I just like am so hyper aware of it now. Like I couldn't imagine my parents being 30 and seeing their
Oh my
babies. Like,
God.
are you gonna be alive or are you gonna pass away? Like, and then my
Yeah.
dad said too when like he built a bunker into our brand new house because
He was
that's just how
like
we could cope.
trying to prepare.
Yeah. And like
Oh,
Yeah.
how do you live normal after that? So we got actually a cabin at the same lake after the tornado happened because a therapist told us that it would be better to like not be afraid of it and go like and continue to go there so the kids aren't scared, but we never really went out there a lot. So we ended up selling
okay.
it, but I haven't been back to Pine Lake since I was
Of
young. But I
course.
really want to make a vlog and like go and share my experience because I'm very visual, so I feel like
Yeah.
when I see
Yeah.
where I was, I'll like be able to heal myself and like and
Yeah, I feel
Oh my
like
gosh.
sometimes I was thinking about your dad and how he built the bunker, and I've recently been reading about trauma and what happens after trauma.
yeah.
And so when you do things and you're like, why am I doing this? Why am I thinking like this? Like, why is your dad building the bunker? It's because the trauma happened so fast
Yes.
that you're trying to prevent that from happening again. Like you're trying to prevent. So that's why they say like catastrophic thinking, like wondering, oh my God, are my parents going to die? It's just because you're trying to protect yourself from another trauma from happening again. And it's totally normal. But I think the human brain just does like crazy things after a trauma. So I really feel like you have, been coping with this for so long, and
Mm.
then for the doctors to not really take you seriously
No.
is really a life lesson to all of us, to be your best advocate when you go to
Oh
the
yeah.
doctor, because they want to, honestly, most of them just want you to move on with
I
your life.
know. And they won't follow up with you unless you're like persistent. You're like, this happened
I
to me,
know.
this happened to me. Like I have like I thought I had endometriosis and all these things. Like our
Mm.
pain, obviously being a redhead, they always joke what because I have red hair too, whenever I go under anesthetic. I don't know about you guys, but
Yes.
like
Yeah.
You
we
need a little bit more.
different. Yeah, like we either need more or like I react really bad to morphine, but they said a lot of redhead peeps do. So
Oh.
Yeah.
when my
Yeah.
appendix ruptured, redheads apparently too, like your pain threshold is like because with my pelvic floor dysfunction and then like when I had my appendix rupture, I remember just them being like, "Oh, she's a redhead" every time, like she's a redhead. We got to give her more of
Uh-huh.
this, or her pain might be like this. So it's crazy how they do it around like they can tell with like my freckles and red hair like what to expect with me.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah. It is. That's an amazing story, Courtney.
I
I
know.
swear.
It
Just
really
the fact that your
is.
family, you are like an angel. You really are. Look at like how you,
thanks.
like your whole family
All
was just
survived. I
all
know. It's
survived. That's insane. That's so amazing. So, what would you say to someone who's struggling with their body as it is right now? What would you say to them about accepting who they are?
I would say that you are your own worst critic and no one is
mm,
really looking at you besides you. Everybody's worried about themselves. And that's like
yeah.
what you have to take
Yeah.
away. And like, I think that's one of the big keys to being confident as well. Like, if you're looking at your outfit or you're sad about your hair or the freckles on your skin, like, homie's not looking at you. Like, they're checking, they're looking at themselves.
Yeah.
If they are
Yeah.
looking at you, that's because they're insecure about something on themselves. So,
Yeah.
and to be your own self advocate for any health problems, because, like, again, trauma is really bad for your brain, but it's also terrible for your body. I remember I had alopecia areata. I lost some of my hair, like this
Did
big.
you
Yeah,
really?
because of just like
Gee,
stress, hormones, like
stress?
even like,
Oh,
yeah,
no way.
it was horrible. So stress and like that, it all lives within, for me, it's my pelvic floor region. So
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
you really have to advocate for yourself. And if you're feeling like this isn't right, then it's probably not right. Like like trust
Yeah.
your gut and like go with what you're feeling.
Yeah, Stephanie has been really an inspiration for me because she is really like Steph, you are your best advocate at the doctors. I mean, like people might think that you are like
Oh yeah.
OCD, but like you really like you push for what's right for you. And
Yeah.
sometimes, it's easy to hear from a doctor when they're like, you're fine. Like I remember I was telling my doctor last year, I said, I'm worried about this and I'm worried about that because of family history and, just like being real with her. And she's like, yeah, but chances are you're going to be fine. Like chances are, and I was just, and it stuck with me because I was like, well, what
Chances
if
are,
I'm
yeah.
not? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? You can't just tell a patient that they're fine if you haven't like done your research.
Yeah,
But Stephanie has always been really good about pushing for what she wants. And
No, it's so
it's inspired
important.
me.
It really is. Oh, thanks, Adrian. But yeah, it is so important because at the end, I look at it like, well, I'm going to walk out of here and continue on with my own life, and then you're just going to go see another patient. So I'm just like, I'm just kind of paperwork, and
Hmm.
and a patient, but it's my body.
yep,
So yeah, so I think that's so important. And I think going into the doctor and like having a list of questions and then just making sure that you're leaving the room not holding anything back.
yeah,
Sometimes it's like, oh, should I have said that? Or maybe I should have mentioned that. But it's like, no, just go all in. And if they think you're crazy, I
who
mean, they're
cares?
not going to tell you they're a
Yeah,
doctor. I don't think they're, I don't think professional wise, they should be like, you're crazy for asking that. They'd probably, you have nothing to lose. You only have something to gain if
yeah,
you are if you're vocal at the doctors.
yes, which is a good thing.
Yeah, it really
Yeah.
is. And then now, okay, so your life and then you were a dancer. How did you get into modeling?
So my mom was like, my brother's name is Dustin, but so my mom kind of put us both in everything. She was like, do football, soccer, hockey, like until we were like 6, like and then once we were 7, she's like, you really need to pick what you like. So I
Yeah.
did dance, and then my brother did hockey for a little while. Like he
Mm.
wasn't more competitive on hockey, he just liked playing it. And then for me, I like really loved entertaining. Ever since I was like dancing in the womb, probably. Like I love making people smile. I love people making someone feel something on a camera. I like performing. Like I just love making people, yeah, entertaining. That's just what I love to do. And my mom was like, okay, we need to get this girl on a stage. So whether that was singing, I did singing for a little bit, I did a little bit of acting, kind of that realm of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I did modeling, and my brother did too, like for a little bit, because my brother's the polar opposite of me. He's very shy
Okay.
and quiet, and I'm loud. So he actually won when we went to Vancouver. We were doing like runway shows. We started with like pageants and all this stuff. So this is a funny story actually. So have you ever seen Toddlers and Tiaras?
No, but I have heard of
I
it.
know what you're talking about.
These
No, I
Steph, you
haven't
little
have
seen it.
to.
Yeah, yeah.
the pageant girls. So
Hmm.
my mom literally got like, these girls are decked out like with like rhinestone bikinis, veneers, like perfect hair, all this stuff. And I go and strut myself on stage in like a Walmart bikini. I have like these pigtails in my hair. Like, these girls have like all this fake hair, and like they have a routine walking the stage. I didn't even have a routine. My mom just like put me in, and I like strutting, and I like obviously looked different. I didn't win anything because I wasn't the typical beauty standard, but I was just being me, and like I was probably like
That is amazing.
we have actually, I think, a video of it somewhere, but it's I think it's hilarious because I'm like, yes, I was just being my authentic self and rocking it. And I just, it's nice to look at that. And I feel like modeling too brought my brother kind of out of his shell, and he actually won
Oh.
Mm.
more than I did back then. But that's just,
Wow,
Really?
really? That's oh my God.
mm,
And is he still in his shell a little bit or has he
yeah, he's very quiet in his shell. Yeah,
Just
well,
who
you
he
guys
is.
opposites I mean, not in like
yeah,
it's
yeah.
siblings
And so,
are so different. I
yeah,
mean,
Stephanie and I are so different.
we're
We're so
so
different,
different.
but
Yeah.
still best friends, but
yeah,
different.
yeah.
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 I think that's what
It
makes the
totally
world go
makes
round.
sense. Of course, of course. Okay, and we love, of course, you're a curve model and properly representing millions of women around the world. Do you feel like modeling world is changing to a more accepting space? Like what's your take on that?
My take on the modeling world. So I like, again, back to when I was dancing, I danced really competitively, like 38 hours a week. I would go to
Oh,
LA,
wow.
and I
Wow.
would like do a lot of competitions, and I would assist for dance conventions in LA or
Okay.
Vancouver and all these places. It was awesome. And then I obviously had pelvic floor dysfunction and a lot of issues.
Okay.
I'm also over.
But you didn't know at the time.
Yeah, so I'm overly flexible as well. So like my hip joints, I
Mm.
actually don't have any fluid within my hip joints. So they told
Okay.
me I'd be in a
Oh, wow.
wheelchair if I kept dancing the way I was by the time I was 30. So I was like, how
Oh
can I
my.
still be
Wow.
on stage and make an impact? I was like modeling. I can be behind a camera and like pose and do
Yeah.
rather than
And still entertain
still
because you said you
entertain.
love entertaining. Yeah.
So then I took back into modeling when I turned kind of 18. But
Okay.
yeah, so then I kind of went into, I think modeling is changing, and I think I'm hoping that they're going to have more curve, but a part of me thinks that it's trending. I think it's a trending movement now
Mm.
because I think that diversity and having freckles, having red hair is like new, and they're trying to make everything so accepting and as of
Yeah.
right now. But in 10 years, if you ask me my opinion, like, do you think curve modeling? I hope so. I think everybody should be,
Me too.
I think
Saying
everybody
yes.
deserves that
Mm-hmm.
chance of like making it. But I don't know. Like with where AI might go and like seeing these
I know.
filters, like they only take
Yeah.
less than 15% of curve women on Fashion Week. Like they don't even let, like,
Still.
yeah. Like,
Oh.
Still to this day. And you would think because
Oh.
inclusivity and brands get called out, like that's one of the things about social media. It's like if a brand does something, people are going to call that brand out. So
yeah.
it's wow, that is shocking. Only 15%.
Yeah, I think it's even less than that, but 15 or lower. I was like,
Shocking and
I'm gonna
sad
post it.
that, yeah,
Yeah.
I know you would, yeah. Well, hopefully, maybe it will change. Maybe in 10 years, we'll be looking back at this interview and being like, we were wrong. I don't
Right?
know.
I'm hoping, I
Yeah.
hope like it continues to show like there's a lot of brands. I think it just depends what you follow too. Like I have some influencer friends that are in LA, and again, how I said it's great to connect with fellow redheads. You can find curvy
Yeah.
women. I can find mid-sized
Yep.
fashion. Like I could literally type into whatever like mid-sized girls outfits and it pops up, or like
Hmm.
Yeah.
confident inspo.
And
But
that's the beauty of it. Cause then you
mhm,
feel like, oh my God, these are my people. I feel
people that look like
connected.
me.
I'm going to start following it and fill up my feed with all these things that just make me feel good. I think, yeah.
And but I find in LA, my friend was like, I never see plus size women or curve women. Like that's not what pops up on my feed, and like that's not what
Mm.
on my algorithm down there. And
Yeah.
I'm like, that's so weird because that's all that obviously your feeds catered to each person, but
Yeah.
like it's weird that like to the algorithm kind of puts people that are either curvier, plus size, or have boob. Like if I just have boobs and they're just existing there, like it's not like why are you sexualizing me? Like I don't know.
Mm.
Right.
Just like why is Instagram being or like a lot of
Yeah.
creators that are like I'm trying to show my cellulite and like dance so people can see like it's normal to have like cellulite or whatever, but then Instagram will be
Hmm.
like, can't post this, like reported, doesn't meet guidelines, and it's like but a skinny person could.
Yeah. There's something, yeah, there's
Oh,
something still not right about
yeah.
society and body standards. And I think too, we were interviewing a famous model last month, and she told us that she's a plus size model, but Courtney, she's not plus size.
Plus size is
She's like,
4, a size 4.
She's a
I
four.
know.
She said she was a four. I was gonna say I can't remember
It's
if it
like
was a
she's
four or
she's
six.
insane. She's insanely thin, and she was saying that they make her bring like a suit to wear to look bigger because unfortunately, skinny
Hmm.
faces and arms sell, but the rest of the body they're trying to make it look like it's plus size, and it really stuck with me because I was like, well,
Hmm.
aren't we all guilty for buying into those brands? And I think we all have to be more conscious of where we're purchasing from and what we are supporting, because obviously these brands are like, hey, sorry, you know, this is what sells. And at the end of the day, it's all about money. And I hate that.
I
I'm
know.
just like,
Yeah.
oh, I wish that it was a true representation of what people look like and not what sells.
No, it's like, and like with all like the editing and stuff, I'm guilty for it. I was totally like I don't even know what app it was when I was like 15. I would like want my arm to be so stick thin or like
Oh my God, was it
pixie.
Oh,
I don't know.
Facetune?
Not
face.
Facetune, but there was Facetune and there was another one, and I swear to God, the walls were
Okay.
like engraved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
People would
And you know what's
call me
funny?
out.
Celebrities have been called out about that. Like, because you would see their arm bone. I know,
Yeah.
I know. And now seeing the hashtag like no filter, all of that, it's so much more of a thing on social. And I appreciate that because yes, when you swipe, you know, if you post something, it's like one of the first or
Yeah.
second filter on Instagram. It does make you look airbrushed and pretty. But then for me personally, my freckles go away if I do that filter.
They're gone.
Yes.
Yeah.
Steph, that is
Shows your
so
freckles.
true.
I'm like
I know. So I don't even use, I mean, sometimes I like the color, the vibrancy of some of the filters, but then yeah, it like diminishes my freckles and I'm like, I don't want to say I don't want to, you know, cuz then I love my freckles.
I know.
So I
Yeah,
think
Stephanie, I know, but I think you had something in common with Courtney, that you really wanted to laser off your freckles and get rid of them and like put powder on them. Like Stephanie did
oh
everything to
my
get rid of her
gosh.
freckles.
Well, I remember at the time I was born in 89. So yeah, similar what you said in the beginning where it was Britney Spears and all of these, you know, Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah.
And at the time Lindsay Lohan like did she bleach her
right.
freckles or wanted to bleach them
Her
or
hair was blonde. I'm like, she was awesome when she started, but then
Oh,
obviously
I
yeah,
diet
she
know.
went through
stuff. She went through something, but now she's like
yeah.
embracing it again. But I'm
More
Yeah.
than ever. It's like
More
more
than
vibrant than
I
it's ever been.
know, but I love my freckles and I'm so thankful my husband loves my freckles. Like I made a comment the other day on there's some skin treatment that my esthetician recommended not to get rid of all my freckles, just like now that I'm getting older.
microdermabrasion.
It's is that it where like they almost look like little coffee beans for like a little bit and then it like will maybe it's a form of that.
But it
I
can
think you're
lighten
right.
up your freckles. That's why like any
Yeah.
freckles, I'm like scared to do it because it like obviously when we sit outside, I'm like, ooh, my freckles are getting darker. Like I don't tan at all, I just burn. But I'm
Same.
scared
Yeah.
of getting more
Adrian and I.
freckles. But
Yeah.
like if you get microdermabrasion or any of that stuff, it takes off a layer of skin. So that's why
Yeah.
underneath it, your freckles will be a little bit lighter.
Redheads, have you heard?
We aired on ABC's Shark Tank, episode 14, season 15. We are busy developing products and continuing to grow this incredible redhead lifestyle brand.
Check out our mascara and eyebrow products in red hot shades, hair care, merch, lifestyle items, and so much more. Redheads, we can now rejoice.
Finally, there are products for us.
Use code podcast to get 15% off your next purchase. Shop at shop.howtobearedhead.com.
Yeah. So she recommended it. And then I mentioned to my husband was like, I love your freckles. And I was like, thank you for saying that. But
That's so
I-
nice. Everyone should love everything about their
and
partner.
it was just so
Yeah.
nice to hear because it's not like every day I'm not asking him, do you like my freckles? But I really love my freckles. But yeah, it was just something that she mentioned. I never even thought about it. And then after it got me thinking, like, is this something I want to get? But I love my freckles. I would never, I don't know. I think maybe when I get older, she was saying too, as you get older, if they start to merge and look like one big, like hyperpigmentation and like a sunspot, then they could do a treatment. But I found like hydrofacials. I don't know if you've ever had one, Courtney. I feel like those, yeah. And I love my esthetician said that she's always like, oh my God, it's going to make your freckles glow. And I was like, that's what I want. I want my freckles to glow. Yeah. I don't want to say goodbye to them. But yeah, I know Adrian and we've done chemical peels in the past, but have you ever gotten one of those?
I think I've gotten a chemical peel once, but like my skin is so dry. Like here, I don't know if you guys have ever been like here in Calgary, Canada.
Are you in
I'm
Calgary?
in Calgary.
I love Calgary. Yes, I went to Calgary
Yeah, I was
and
gonna say-
Banff. Gorgeous.
I know
Gorgeous.
Banff is amazing.
But dry, but very dry.
Like I'm like, and even in here, it's like the air is just like not moist.
Mm.
It doesn't leave you glowing. It leaves you like crusty. Like
So do you have
Yeah.
humidity in the summer?
no, like here,
Oh,
there's
that's
No.
awesome though. I take that. I take dry skin over sweaty oil
Yes.
mess.
I'm like
Like
I
when
like
people go to Florida, have you ever been to Florida?
yes, yes,
Florida in like the summertime, like forget it.
Forget it.
I can understand why flights. I was randomly looking at flights in like August for we were entertaining the idea of going somewhere in Florida. I'm like, no wonder they're cheap because everyone's just gonna be hot and sweaty and sunburnt when you go outside for like
God.
the first 30 seconds.
Yeah.
So I take dry skin any day. But yes, chemical peels will dry you out. But I've gotten a few, but overall, I'm just like glow for my freckles and not getting rid of them. Especially people are trying to get, we said it earlier, fake freckles.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
So,
like they're doing the broccoli and this like they're
yeah.
doing
Yeah.
self tanner. I mean, they're
Or
doing so much.
there's like one where they
Yeah.
like take their brush and they flick it up.
Yeah.
And I'm like, how is that
I
gonna make
s-
you look like you freckles?
or the sunless tan. People like the sunless tanner because it lasts like
Yeah,
numerous days,
henna too.
and
Henna, they put henna on their face.
that's
Yeah.
insane. I know. See what people are doing that, and they're dyeing their hair red. It's swear it's like all the people who bullied, not all the people,
It
but
is.
I'm sure
It
it's a
is.
lot of people that
I'm like,
bullied
Bullied
redheads
us.
growing
times
up.
a day, and you're dyeing your hair red.
Yeah, I know. And in one of your TikToks, you mentioned how your 14-year-old self would, quote, pass out if they could see you now. If you could go back and talk to your younger self, what advice would you give? What would you tell her?
I would tell her that it's gonna be okay. Like everything's like I don't know, like I've always been so passionate about my dreams and pursuing like what I want, and I
Mm-hmm.
like am a really hard worker and I'm ambitious and determined and like ready to achieve my goals, but I was obviously growing up very insecure, and that's why I dyed my hair black. Like I felt like I was the friend that the guys never liked. I was like always just like the girl with red hair and that wore sweatpants all the time, or like it was just I wanted to look like my cousin. She's beautiful, blonde, skinny, and like she was my best, like she's my best friend. So growing up next to her, I was like, oh, she looks so cute in
Yeah.
crop top. And like, I just want to look like her so bad. And like, I never wanted to be myself. And I obviously went through a few like abusive relationships where I like dealing with like narcissistic people and like verbal
Mm.
abuse, and like where a lot of men wouldn't like me posting because of my red hair and freckles, and like like kind of keeping me to themselves. But then I was like, no, I'm gonna post. Like bye. Like thank you
Yeah.
next. I don't know if you
Yeah.
guys are Swifties,
Thank you
but
next.
I'm like I love Taylor Swift, and like yeah, like her new album that just came out, I'm like yes.
Hmm.
Anybody that's
I
ever
know.
been through trauma or like any type of this, like I just find, yeah, I would tell myself that it's going to be okay. And like, I wish I learned to accept myself sooner, but I feel like it's
Mm,
all about the
Mm.
journey. Like, I needed to be that so
mm-hmm.
that I could become this. So, and hopefully I say
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
to myself in 10 years from now, being like, the decisions you made then, like, just made you exactly where you're supposed to go. And I kind of believe, like, if you put your passions and your love and your heart in the right place, and if you're kind to other people, things will come back to you. So it's just about being
Yeah.
because you don't know what people are going through. You don't know,
You
like,
don't.
you just don't know where they come from or their households or like how their friends are treating them. So it's just like,
Mm-hmm.
it's a very important to be kind. So even when people would like
Yeah.
kick me on Kick a Ginger Day or like throw me in a dumpster, I like was never mean back. I always like helped everything with kindness.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah. And I
something
think
that your
it's
parents, sorry.
karma.
Yeah. Yeah, Adrian.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say that's good karma on your side that you didn't fight back, and were mean back, because I think that what you put into this world you get back. And so I think that's why you're doing so well now, because
Mm-hmm.
you didn't channel that bad energy that they were channeling to you. I think that there's really something to that.
Yeah, like even with you guys probably like it's just like obviously the person who threw me or kicked me, like what are they dealing with at home? Like I have a
Yeah.
wonderful
So
Yeah.
life.
true.
My family's I have a beautiful family, and like I'm so grateful for all the things that I do have. And it's hard too, because when you're in that position, when I'm like 15 thinking of like my black hair and stuff, you like hate your
Yeah.
life and you're like, oh, I just want to be older. But like I would do anything to like go back and live with my mom again, or like be annoying my brother, or like you just never get that time
Mm-hmm.
back. But again, it made
Yeah.
me who I am today, so I'm so grateful for everyone that was mean to me, like, because I learned
It
to
made you
like be
stronger.
resilient and like be
Mm.
Yeah.
stronger. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is a beautiful lesson I think all redheads should take from, you know, we've interviewed even like young kids with their moms, and like
Yeah.
we always tell them like it's going to get better, it's going to get better, and like they don't feel like it will, but it will.
Mhm.
So your story has really resonated with me, and I know Steph too. We're going to talk about this after, just about your journey. And so now you're a professional hair and makeup artist. So how did you get to this point, and do you love it?
I absolutely love it. I love meeting clients. I love making other people feel beautiful. Like it's just like the
Yeah.
feeling you get when like you like enhance someone's natural beauty is just like is
Mhm.
Mm.
awesome. I also love doing like makeup and like I found too, being a redhead, makeup was always a struggle. Like I know you guys have your brow products, you
Yeah.
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
like it's been so hard to find like even foundation, because I'm like, I don't want to cover up my freckles. I don't want to
I
do any of this
know.
stuff. So it's nice to like meet other fellow redheads that trust in me to either do their hair and makeup, and like
Mm.
they believe that I can like make their natural beauty shine through with a
Yeah.
product.
And that's so
So
important, especially if it's like a special occasion or a big day. Like, do you do weddings?
yes, I do. I love
Oh,
doing
wow.
upstyles, and like I do
Oh.
weddings as well, but I find I do more hair than makeup on people, just
Okay.
unless it's like I'll have my friend or someone else come join me because it's like a party of 7, and then I like have to do
Yeah.
hair and makeup by myself. So I'll either do the hair, I'll do the makeup, or I'll have one of my friends do the hair, and we'll swap. So it's nice to have friends in the industry as well, so that you can do those big
Yeah.
parties like that.
That's really great. And I was wondering too, so what inspired you to start your social pages? Because apart from everything else, you know, how did you get into that? Because that's how we met you. So
Yeah.
I was just
Well, obviously COVID. So I was teaching
mm,
dance after I graduated, and I actually went to vet school, like vet tech school for a little bit, and I finished
yeah.
that. And because I just wanted to have education under my background in case XYZ didn't, I want to have backup plans in case things don't
Yeah.
happen. But I couldn't euthanize animals. Like I just wanted to be around them. I
Oh
wanted to
my
hug
God.
them. I wanted to love them. But
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I like am obsessed with animals. Like you'll see me at the
Mm.
shelter. Like I would volunteer at the SPCA down here, and
Oh, that's
I
wonderful.
I like loved it. But I just like
How do you not take them home?
I do. That's why I have 4 cats. But yeah,
Wow.
like,
Uh,
I couldn't euthanize them, so I was just like, "This is not for me," and my mom's like, "Well, you do your own hair and makeup really well for when you're on stage, when you do modeling, you always do it yourself. Why don't you, like, go into that?" So she inspired me to, like, do
Oh.
that, and
good for her.
yeah,
Wow. She sounds
so
like a great mom.
yeah. So I did like eyelashes, I did waxing, I did nails, I did hair. Like I just did everything, and I did makeup too, so that I could get certified in everything, and then I could pick which vendor I kind of wanted to go with, because you can kind of do like I could do hair and then wax somebody. I can kind of do it all, which is nice. So that
Okay.
you
Mm.
don't like
Yeah.
put yourself in a box where like someone's like, I'm a blonde specialist, you're boxing yourself. Like you want to be able to
Right.
do everything. Like I don't want to be like,
Everything.
I can't do red hair. I can't do blue hair. I'm like, why can't you do it all? Like, why can't you
Yeah.
invest in like learning venture? Like some people like certain things, but like even men's cuts or short women's cuts, like a lot of people again put
So
themselves
you do all of that. You do
in.
color and cut.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. And
yeah,
styling. Wow.
yeah.
Wow. That's
You're
awesome.
super talented.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah, you are. And then, okay, so talk to us too about, I know we talked earlier about hair and browning out and everything, but we want to ask about getting your tattoos lasered off, which is something So you did get that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you see
So
it?
did you get it? Yeah. Is that the year you were
Oh,
born?
wow.
96. Like,
Okay. So what
Wow.
age did you get that tattoo? What made you want to laser it off and what's that process? And then I want to ask you about the pain factor
yeah.
but
Um,
walk us through
yeah. So
that.
I I think I wanted tattoos when I was like really young because I saw all these models have like tattoos. I didn't like how fair my skin was. I was like, I just want to cover all my freckles up, and I
Yeah.
just wanted to like look good, and like I was like, guys don't like me, like I need, like I don't know, like I just was probably going through a weird period in my head. And then when I started modeling, I did like auditions for Disney, and like they're all like, you can't have tattoos when you do like I auditioned for Disney Cruise
Hmm.
Lines and stuff like that. Like they literally sit you in a, so when you go into the audition, you like stand in a line. You have to be at least 5'7", which I'm not. A lot of people think I'm really tall, but I'm actually 5'3", so I'm really short. But I, the posing, I'm like, makes me look tall. But
Yeah, and the
Yeah.
confidence. The
yeah,
confidence will make you look like a
yeah,
really tall
I
Hmm.
person.
look like
Yeah.
6
Yeah.
foot. Like yeah. So yeah, I even remember when I went to LA and I was meeting my friend, I hopped out of the car and she's like, "What?" She's like, "I don't remember you being this short." I was like, "Baby, it's the it's the confidence." But
Yeah.
yeah, like I got it lasered. This has been 12 sessions. So,
Oh,
and
12.
and you
12.
still have more to go.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna laser this one because you can't see it when I'm modeling. I don't know if you can see it,
Right.
but you
Oh,
Yep.
like,
yes.
I
Yep.
So
just
pretty.
wanted when I model, like I don't want my freckles hidden. I also like a- as you get older, I'm just like, why did I do that? So, and when you
Yeah.
go to auditions and stuff, like makeup now, there's obviously makeup brands that do hide tattoos well, but
Yeah.
within the job industry that I want to be in, which is like modeling, and people usually hire me for my red hair and freckles, I needed to get rid of that. I'm like this. So the pain is awful. It literally
Is it?
feels like
Oh.
your skin's on fire and like a cat is scratching into it while it's on fire.
For how long? Are you talking about like a
Oh.
minute? I can handle it for a minute.
Probably a minute, but like I'm like I'm like saying the F word
It's a long
a
minute.
long
I mean, yeah, that is a long minute.
and
Okay.
I actually got, I don't know if you can see, there's like a faint E here.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
one session. Because this is like shading, so it's not like dark tattoo, where this is like on
Okay.
my red skin. So,
Okay.
and the farther away it is from your heart, they say that it takes longer for the ink to process and digest through your metabolism.
Oh, wow.
So,
Oh.
and for this one, I just kind of like, I just didn't like how when I turned my arm, it was like a huge, not blob, but you could see it still, where I like, this is tasteful. I'm like, you can't really see it if I'm like
Mm.
shooting or doing any of that stuff where they can hide it. But
Yeah.
all my other ones, I have a bunch of like tiny ones, which I kind of like. I like them. I have like thriving on my leg. I have my parents' signatures on my foot. I have dog
Oh.
behind my ear that I
Oh, I
got.
love
So I'm like,
that.
that's cute because I like love my animals. So these were my childhood
Yeah.
dog prints when I was young. I got like pictures
Oh.
of their paws and got them there. But
Oh, I love
yeah,
that.
but big one,
That is so
if
nice.
you're in like dance or modeling, I say no tattoos because it's just like everyone has tattoos now. So it's just everyone wants fresh skin. If you want to work for Disney or brands like that, they just like don't want
They're
tattoos.
strict. Okay.
Because you have to be able
No
to
Oh.
tattoos.
switch in each costume. So they'll put wigs on you. And even my freckles, they didn't hire me because I have like you can't have freckles. You can't have like dots. You have to be like white and just like plain white skin. You have to be able to switch to Snow White, to Ariel, to like they, and that's why you have to be the same
I
size,
mean, they can have freckles, right?
Mm.
right? I'm like I can be
Yeah.
Anna from Frozen. Like
Yeah, they can have freckles. I mean, they're animated. Can't we just
I
like
know.
pretend that they have freckles? Wow, that's insane.
Yeah, they're very strict, very very strict. They'll like kick you like
Okay.
even
Wow.
like in the line. They're like next, next, like that quick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my
Wow, that's so
gosh.
cool. So it seems like you have a lot going on,
Yeah.
but what's next for you? What are you looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to continue working on my social media platform that, yeah, like I started it because I wanted to build other people's confidence. And I just
Mm,
posted modeling pics. At first I was like, I'm gonna get really big doing hair. And then I I noticed that people were following me, like I would get more engagement when I would post myself. So then I was like, maybe
Hmm.
I'm not going to post hair and I'm going to start posting on my normal page and see if that takes off. And I started posting, like my dancers were like, you should post on TikTok. So I started doing TikTok dances. I started showing like my freckly arms because in a lot of countries
mm.
they've never seen like freckles before. So they're like, is that
Oh,
melanoma on your skin? Like the comments in my TikTok are brutal, but
is that
I'm like,
They
melanoma?
don't know that it's freckles.
no, they're like, what is that? They're like,
Uh,
what is this? I'm like, it's not melanoma. And then there's like comments on comments on comments. So that was actually my first viral video was like, it was like me holding my face and I swiped and then it's like my freckles because it was dark. Like they were dark because it was summertime here. So my freckles were popping and
okay.
people were like, what is that? I don't understand what that is. But I want to continue to inspire redheads, not like everyone, not just redheads,
And
but I
you are.
Hmm.
like people
You
that
are.
see their body or like have body dysmorphia. I just want people to feel confident in their skin and like you can literally achieve anything you put your mind to. And I really believe that, even though some people might be like, oh, that's out of reach for me, or like, I don't think I can
It's
do that.
not realistic.
You
Yeah,
can do it.
definitely.
You can do it. And I believe if you put it out there and you're doing things step by step to achieve that, you like,
Mm-hmm.
you're doing it. Like you guys on Shark Tank, I literally was like, yes, like redhead, I
Oh,
love that. Like it was just so awesome. Like that's an awesome moment for you guys. And like, I just, yeah, I hope I can like continue to inspire. I would love to make confidence courses in person and like teach people how to do their
Oh,
hair and makeup. So that's like in the works right now. I'm
oh,
thinking of
cool.
doing like confidence course, come learn how to do your makeup and hair like with me
I love that.
and like maybe do like a dance class or like cuz we have like a Telespark dome here as well, which is like
Ooh.
I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a science center. So they have
Okay.
AI domes and like huge, like it looks like space when you're walking through it. But I do some influencing for them for their adult nights. So
Oh,
I go
cool.
there and
Oh,
I'll like meet people and mingle and like hopefully, yeah, I just love to meet people too in person now that COVID's over. I'm like, I love
Yeah.
yeah.
making and like helping others like thrive to their full potential. And that's why too I always say thriving and surviving because I survived that tornado, but a lot of people don't even
You did.
know I was in a tornado. So,
Because you're thriving.
yeah, well, we all are.
Yeah, that's the thing about social media is everyone assumes that if you're doing great that you had no prior
Oh my God,
problems.
no.
You know that
Yeah.
And it
no
came
one
easy. Like,
gets
oh, you
that
just
no
got all
one's
those
having it
followers
easy.
or did,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh my God,
Yeah,
nothing.
everyone like if we could probably just talk for Stephanie and I could talk for 5 hours about all just the hurdles that we've had, starting how to be a redhead. I mean, it's been
Yeah.
insane, but at the end of the day, you have to keep focused. And it seems like you have kept such great focus on yourself and your mission. And we love following you. So just keep doing what you're doing. And thank you so much for sharing your incredible journey.
Thank you
Yeah,
so much,
kudos to you,
Courtney.
Courtney.
Yes,
Awesome.
amazing.
Well, I'm so glad we got to do this, and I can't believe
Me
we're all
too.
redheads on screen here. I'm like, yay!
I
I
know.
So nice to like be around because usually we're the odd ones sticking out, which again I like now as an adult, but
Yeah.
it's just thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited for people to hear this podcast and I think you guys are awesome. I'll never forget like seeing because remember those shirts you obviously sell the redhead shirts, but I remember being at
Yeah.
the mall with my mom and I'm like, there's no shirts that say redhead. It's all like brunette and blonde and I felt like so discluded. I'm like, yes, you two like rock it and you like brought that out for people. So thank you for like
Oh,
making a community for us to thrive in. It's
oh, thank you so much,
Oh,
Courtney.
thank you,
thank
Courtney.
you.
Thank you so much.